Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of Chanel, and it's going to be very light and very neutral. Now, I used this makeup the other day, and I do this quite a lot when I just do makeup for myself, and I pull different things out of the drawer and put it on, and I like the look of it. I think I must do a video on that, so that's what I've decided to do today. So all my skincare has been done for the morning. It's fairly early morning here, and my last step was sunscreen, but I haven't yet put on my sunscreen again before applying my makeup. So I'm going to do that now, and of course it's going to be my absolute favorite. This is the Canmake one. This is Japanese sunscreen. It is absolutely gorgeous. You can either get this from YesStyle or from Amazon, and I always have this linked in my description box below. The texture of this is just beautiful. It doesn't feel like a sunscreen at all, and yet it is an SPF 50. So when I first put it on in the mornings, I put on a really generous amount, about 1/4 teaspoon, which doesn't sound a lot, but it actually is a lot of sunscreen. So I put it on in a couple of layers, and then about 5 to 10 minutes before I put on my makeup, I like to just put on one more layer. But it really just feels like the lightest moisturizer. It's really like putting on skincare and not a sunscreen. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I've let that sunscreen sit. It's been about 10 minutes, and I'm going to put on the Chanel primer. This is the one that was released last year. This is the mattifying and moisturizing one. Beautiful primer. This is my second tube of it. And I do think it would suit all skin types, but definitely if you have combination to oily skin, it's really beautiful. Now, it doesn't go down to a flat matte and dries things down, but what it does is it takes away just any excess shine that you may have, and it also helps with the longevity of your foundation. I've used this, I probably can't say with every single foundation that I have in my collection because I do have so many since I have this channel, but I have used it with a lot of my foundation, and it works with every single one that I've tried so far. And because I want a really light, natural type of makeup look, I've reached for, this is the Chanel, this is the one that I used the other day with this makeup look, and it's the Sublimage L'essence Teint. Now this is quite an expensive foundation, although you do get 10 mils more than the standard 30 mils. This comes in 40 mils, but this is just absolutely beautiful. And although it is a light coverage, the finish of it is just really beautiful. So I'm just going to put one pump on the back of my hand, so you can see it's slightly running down. It's definitely not a matte foundation. This is one that gives you more of a glow, and yet it tends to work really well with my oily skin. In the summer, and I did use this through the summer, I do have to do a bit more of a heavy powder, but because it's now towards the end of winter here in New Zealand, then really I just have to lightly powder it, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to take the Rapper brush. This is the B02, and just put on just a small amount to begin with, because I really don't want full coverage, and you can't really get it with this foundation anyway. But I really do want, with this foundation, just a very light coverage. I just want it to even out my complexion and really just make it so that it looks like your skin, but just a little bit more perfected. So those of you that haven't tried this foundation before, it does have a fragrance. I happen to like the fragrance. And I think, yes, every Chanel foundation does have a fragrance. It doesn't tend to linger, but then of course some people are more sensitive to when it comes to smelling a fragrance. So for me, when I say it dissipates really quickly, for someone who's quite sensitive to that type of thing might find that it does linger just for a little while. And then I just put what's left of my brush, just tap some under my eyes. So you can see that it is a really light coverage. I could build it up a little bit more if I wanted to, but I really like it like this, especially for this type of makeup look. Like I was saying, I just want my skin to look like it's my skin, but just a little bit more evened out and a little bit more perfected. So I'm going to just leave it like that. I think the finish of this is really pretty. Now, often what I forget to reach for, and I've got a couple of different ones. I've got a Chanel one, and I've also got a Nars one, and this is a color corrector. And you only put on, well, for me, the tiniest amount. Now, under my eyes, I don't have a huge amount of darkness, but what I do have is that I have veins under here, and they are of a green shade, and they are quite prominent. So when I remember, and I did remember to do this the other day with this makeup look, I reached for this corrector, and I just put one dot just under there, no more. I don't put it on like a concealer. Really, when it comes to a corrector, less is definitely more. So now I'm just going to grab a brush to blend out this concealer, and I'm going to take the BK Beauty one, and I just start tapping that out. So even though I put on the smallest amount, you can see that it blends out quite a bit. So if you use more than that, you really just end up with just too much coverage. And not only that, but then I put on just what was left on the foundation brush under my eyes. Now I'm putting on a corrector, and then I'm going to put on a concealer. And I find now that my skin is mature skin, since I am 55 years old now, that really the least amount of product you apply under your eyes, but you can get the most type of coverage, is the best way to go. And really it just comes down to trial and error. But I also find that even though I have oily skin, and you saw me apply my sunscreen and it is really moisturizing, so even with my oily skin, especially for under my eyes, they need to be really moisturized. So now I'm going to conceal, and I'm going to use my loved concealer, and this is the Chanel, this is the Sublimage. This is such a beautiful concealer, and I am slowly getting through this. I think this had a shelf life of about 12 months. This is well beyond that, and it performs just like when I bought it, and it still smells really good as well, because smell can be the first indicator when products are starting to go off a little bit. The only thing is I think this is in 30, which is fine, but I've also tried the one, I think it might be in 31, and when I buy another one of these, and I definitely will be, I'm going to get the 31, and that's because it just has a slight peachy undertone to it, which also helps correct as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit in the corner, a little bit under here, and up towards the side, and the same under the side as well. And then I'm just blending it out using the same brush that I used for the corrector, and then I just press it in just using my fingers, with the warmth of your fingers. And I do this with every concealer. It just helps to meld it into your skin just that little bit more. So now I'm going to put on eyeshadow primer, and I always do this in my eyebrows before I set my under eyes, and I'm going to use the Nars one for this. And I'm actually getting towards the end of this. I think I do have a backup, but I was mentioning in a video the other day that I've also heard that the Hourglass one is really good as well. So I must see if Mickey here in New Zealand has the Hourglass one, and if it does, I'm going to pick one up and give it a go and see what it's like. And then for eyebrows, I'm going to use the new Chanel eyebrow pencil. This is the micro one. This is really good. When I first bought this, I wasn't too sure because I couldn't see a cap anywhere in the box, but they actually don't have a cap, but they twist up and twist down, and it's a lot finer than the other eyebrow pencil, and I got it in the same shade. This is the one, I think it's Brun Clair, and I just love this shade. It just keeps my eyebrows very natural looking, and I know I've mentioned this many times before, but really I'm not that fussy with my eyebrows. All I want is just to fill in any little gaps that there might be. My eyebrows aren't too bad because I didn't follow the trend in the 90s of plucking my eyebrows to death. But all I really want is just for my eyebrows really just to look nice and tidy. And then once I've done this, I will go over with my Benefit. This is the Eyebrow Gel. And also with this eyebrow pencil, once you turn it down, you can hear, I'm not sure whether you'll be able to, but you can hear it's a little click, and then you know that it's right down. But even though that it doesn't have a cap, it certainly isn't drying out. So I think that's great that it doesn't have a cap. It was just that it was a little bit unusual when I first got it. And I did think one was missing, but no, they don't come with a cap. So just a very light coat of the Benefit. This is the 24-hour brow setter, and I really like it because it sets my brows, but it's not heavy and doesn't make them crunchy or anything like that, but just keeps my eyebrows in place for the whole day. Then I'm going to take the Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. This is in the shade 30. I also have the one in translucent as well. I absolutely love this powder. Now I'm only going to do a light dusting of it, so I'm going to take the BK Beauty brush. This is the 102 that I also like to call the bunny brush, because it is just super soft. But I'm just going to do just a very light dusting, and because this brush is super fluffy, it only picks up a small amount of product at a time. And I find it perfect for just when you want to give just a really light dusting of powder. Now with this foundation, if it was summertime, what I would either use is either the little puff that comes with this powder, this one here, and I just washed this the other day and it just comes up like brand new. Or I would use a more dense brush, something like the La Mer powder brush, or BK Beauty also have a really good brush if you want to put on just a heavier layer of powder, and this is the 105, and that's a really good brush as well. But for under my eyes, I do find the Chanel powder would be a little bit too heavy, so I'm just going to use the Hourglass one, and I find this really perfect for under my eyes, and it definitely gives a blurring effect and just sets my concealer for the whole day. And for bronzer today, I'm going to use the Beiges. This is the Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. This is in the lighter shades. I have all the shades, and this is the original Formula 1, and I see now this is back in stock, I think. It's definitely at Nordstrom. I'm not too sure about on the Chanel website, but again, just like I always do, I will have it listed and linked in the description box below. They also came out, was it last year, with the travel size ones, and they were a different formula. I didn't mind that formula. I thought it was really lovely, but of course, for many people, these are holy grail. And I'm going to use a Sonia G. This is the Sheer Buffer brush. Now, because this is going to be a light makeup look, I really just want to put on just the smallest amount, just to give a slight warmth to the skin. So as I was saying, I do have this in all the shades. I also have the one in medium, and I also have the darkest one as well. Now sometimes what I do is use two, this one, and then go over a little bit with the medium one as well. But this one by itself, if you just want a very light bronze, if you have light to medium skin tone like me, then I think the shade works perfectly. And for eyeshadow today, I'm going to use the Chanel, this is the Rivoli one, and I'm going to use just 3 shades. I think it was these 3 shades that I used the other day. So it really is just going to be just a very soft makeup look. The color story of this quad is just, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take my Chanel brush, and I'm going to start off with this shade here. And I'm going to take that all over the lid, through the crease, and up onto my brow bone as well. The other thing that I like about this look is it's very quick to do. It's taking longer with this video because I talk as I go. But when I did it yesterday, I think I got the whole look done. Would have been in about probably 10 to 15 minutes once I decided what I was going to put on my face. And from the time that I put on my primer, then it was actually really, really quick. Then I'm going to take this Sonia G brush. This is the pencil one. I'm going to stay with the shade and run some of this on my lower lash line. And then I'm just going to flip the brush over and I'm going to go into this darker shade here and put a little bit in the outer corner because I always like, well, nearly always, quite like a little bit of depth with my eyeshadow looks. And I'm going to just pack a little bit up onto the brow bone as well, and I'll blend it out in a minute. But first I'm just going to do the same on the other side again and just pack a little bit up onto the brow bone, not using much at all. I can always add a little bit later if I want to, if I think it needs deepening up a little bit more, but I really just want to keep this look just very, very soft. So I'll flip the brush over and just blend that out slightly, although really when I put it on using this end, it actually went on really well. Just needs just a very slight blend out and just a little bit of softening. Then I'm going to go back to the Sonia G brush, the pencil one, go into the deepest shade here, and I'm just going to put just a little bit of this on the lower lash line, just on just really the outer third. Then I'm going to go into the shade here and I'm just going to use my finger. I'm just going to tap in very lightly and just put it through here, and just using the smallest amount you get a little bit of lightness but still keeps the look just really soft and natural. And for eyeliner, I'm going to use the Chanel one, but I don't want a lot of eyeliner. So what I do is I just want to give a little bit of depth to my eyes, and so that they just pop a little bit. So I just keep it really close to the lash line, really, really close. And then I'm also going to put some on the lower lash line, and I don't want a heavy line on my lower lash line at all, just to keep it really soft. So when I put some on, it's just barely touching my lower lash line. It's just enough just to give just a hint of the liner down there, just to add a little bit of depth, but it's not thick at all. And for mascara, I'm going to use my absolute favorite one. This is the Chanel Le Volume. I now have this in 2 shades. Today I'm going to use the black one, but I've also got the one Blue Night, which has that blue in it, but a lot of black as well. Both are really beautiful, but today I thought I would just use just the standard black one. So for blush today, I'm going to be using 2. I'm going to use, first of all, the new one. This is the Chanel, this is the cream to powder one, and this is the one in beige. And then over the top, I'm also going to be using the Beiges, it's the Water Fresh blush as well, and I'm going to use the one in light peach. I used both of these the other day and I thought it looked really pretty. This blush is beautiful just by itself, but both together I thought it was just a little bit different, and I quite like combining different products as well. So this is Sonia G, this is the Sheer Buffer, and just go into this. I love these cream to powder blushes. I just think they are absolutely beautiful. They blend out beautifully, and as soon as you've put them on, they do go down to a powder. I just think they are gorgeous. It shouldn't be too long before they are on the Chanel website. I think they're available in some boutiques throughout the US, so I don't think it'll be too long before you'll be able to get them online. I would say they're going to be fairly popular, especially the shade here. It's just gorgeous. So now I'm just going to take the Beiges, the Water Fresh blush, and because I don't want to use much of this at all, I'm just going to put the smallest amount just on the back of my hand. And of course, just like the foundation, you just have to break up the pigment on the back there, and then the beautiful shade appears. But this shade is gorgeous. I have 4 of these blushes. I absolutely love them and I wear them a lot. I just think they are gorgeous. So I'm going to stay with the Sonia G, the Sheer Buffer, pick a little bit of this up and just pop a little bit just through the apple here. And I really like the combination of those blushes. Like I was saying, of course, the beige one, the cream to powder just by itself is really pretty too. But I think these two together also look really gorgeous. And then for lipstick today, I'm going to use one of my favorite combinations, and it is using this and also one of the glosses as well. And of course there is a gloss that comes with this, but I like using the shade with this one. I think together they are just super pretty. So first of all, I pop this on and just let it sit for a minute or two, let it dry down, and then pop on the gloss. So here is the finished look, and I think it is really soft and really pretty. The Sublimage foundation is holding up beautifully. I love the way that it just evens out my complexion and is super flattering for my mature skin. Just really lovely. And of course the Chanel, the Beiges, the Healthy Glow, the bronzing cream. It is just a holy grail for many people, and I like using that lighter shade. It just gives a hint of warmth, but just enough for my light to medium skin tone when I want to keep the look really light and natural. The Chanel eyeshadow quad, the one in Tisse Rivoli, is just absolutely gorgeous. What a beautiful, beautiful color story. Very soft, very natural, and I love it that it still has that deeper shade there, just so I can give just a little bit more depth, which I really like to do with my eye looks, but not going over the top. And I loved using this lighter shade, just very lightly using my finger. It just lightens it up a little bit through there. You can add more impact if you wanted to, but I just wanted to keep the look just very light for today's makeup. And I just really love these new Chanel cream to powder blushes. The one in Beige is just gorgeous. As you can see, it is no longer in pristine condition. I've been using a lot. I just think it is absolutely beautiful, and by itself it is gorgeous, but I do like it paired with that Beiges, the Water Fresh blush, the one in light peach. I think it looks really, really pretty. And of course this lip combination is one of my favorites. I wear it a lot, especially when I'm going out for the day, because this stays on all day, and then I can easily just top it up with this gloss. And I think that this combination just looks super, super pretty. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.